My beloved child, pause your scrolling for just a moment, because what you are about to hear is not random, not accidental, and not meant for everyone. On January 19th, heaven took notice of something you did. It may have looked small in the natural. It may have gone unnoticed by people around you. But in the spiritual realm, it landed like thunder. And the moment it happened, the heavens responded. Listen carefully. His message is urgent. Archangel Michael steps forward now, sword lowered, voice steady, but filled with authority. He says, what you released in faith has already been answered in power. You didn't just make a decision. You made a move. A move so aligned, so bold, so precise in timing, that God immediately authorized a miracle with your name written on it. This is not a general word. This is not something you can come back to later. You were meant to open this before it arrives, because preparation is part of the miracle. Here is what most people don't understand. Heaven does not respond to noise. Heaven responds to alignment. And on January 19th, whether you realized it or not, your heart, your intention, and your action came into perfect alignment. It could have been a prayer you whispered when no one was listening, a boundary you finally set, a step you took even though fear tried to stop you, or a surrender, letting go of something you fought to hold on to for far too long. Archangel Michael says it clearly. That moment shifted the battlefield. For a long time, there has been resistance around you. Delays that didn't make sense. Closed doors that felt unfair. A weight you couldn't explain. But what you did on this specific day sent a signal through the heavens that said, I trust God more than my fear. And that single signal was enough. Understand this, miracles are not always released because we are strong. Many are released when we are finally honest. Honest about being tired. Honest about needing help. Honest about being done doing things the old way. God is not impressed by perfection. He responds to surrender mixed with faith. Archangel Michael reveals that the miracle released is not small. It is precise, tailored, custom-made. It carries your name because it solves something specific you've been carrying. Something that kept you awake at night. Something you stopped talking about because explaining it hurt too much. This is why the timing feels strange. This is why your spirit felt restless even before you opened this. Your soul recognized the moment before your mind did. And hear this clearly. Nothing can intercept what has already been dispatched. Once heaven releases a word, no delay, no opposition, no past mistake can cancel it. The paperwork has been signed in the spiritual realm. The authorization has been given. Archangel Michael is not announcing a possibility. He is announcing movement. But there is a reason you are being told now. Because what is coming will require readiness. Not panic. Not rushing. But awareness. Gratitude before arrival. Faith before evidence. If you receive it casually, you may misunderstand it. If you stay alert, you will recognize it the moment it shows up. Some of you are expecting the miracle to look dramatic, but it will arrive quietly at first. A conversation, an opportunity, a sudden shift in someone's heart, a door that opens without resistance. Don't ignore the subtle beginnings. God often wraps miracles in simplicity so only the prepared recognize them. Archangel Michael warns gently, do not talk yourself out of it. Do not say, it's too good to be true. Do not delay obedience when the nudge comes. The miracle will meet you in motion, not in hesitation. January 19th marked the release. What follows now is manifestation. And here is the most important part. This miracle is not just for relief. It is for a positioning. God is not only fixing something. He is moving you into a new level of trust, authority, and clarity. What comes next will make sense of the struggle behind you. So breathe. Stay grounded. Stay expectant. And stay open. Archangel Michael says, open this before it arrives, because awareness unlocks acceleration. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Heaven has already responded. If you feel this stirring in your spirit, that's not emotion, that's confirmation. My precious one, take a deep breath, because what I am about to reveal will bring clarity to everything that felt confusing before. Archangel Michael speaks again, not in urgency now, but in certainty. He says that when heaven responds, it does not always shake the ground first. It often rearranges the unseen. And that is exactly what has been happening around you since January 19th. You may have noticed subtle changes. Your reactions are different. Your patience has shifted. Certain things that once triggered fear or anxiety no longer hold the same power. That is not coincidence. That is evidence. Heaven began working behind the scenes the moment your action was registered. While you were wondering if anything changed, God was already repositioning people, conversations, timelines, and opportunities in your favor. Archangel Michael reveals that resistance you felt before was not punishment. It was preparation. You were being trained to recognize the miracle without idolizing it, to receive without fear of loss, to stand without needing constant reassurance. And now, because you passed that internal test, what is coming will not destabilize you. It will strengthen you. Here is something few are told. When God releases a miracle with your name on it, the enemy often tries one last distraction. Doubt suddenly becomes louder. Old thoughts resurface. Familiar patterns try to pull you back. That is not because you are losing ground. It is because ground has already been gained. The noise increases when authority shifts. Archangel Michael says, do not misread the moment. If things feel unusually quiet, that is not delay. That is alignment. If you feel unusually emotional, that is not weakness. That is release. Heaven is clearing space for what cannot coexist with chaos. Some of you have been asking God for a sign, and this message itself is part of that confirmation. You are being reminded to stay present, to stay grateful, to stay obedient in small things, because the miracle is approaching in layers, not all at once. Each layer prepares you for the next. And hear this carefully. What God released is not dependent on someone else's approval. It does not require validation from people who doubted you. It does not need permission from the past. The miracle is secured because it was released by God, guarded by Archangel Michael, and aligned with your obedience. This is why comparison must stop now. Looking at others will only blur your discernment. Your path is custom. Your timing is intentional. Your reward is specific. What is coming to you would not fit in someone else's life, and what is coming to them was never meant for you. Peace comes when you stop measuring and start trusting. Archangel Michael also brings a gentle instruction. He says to speak life, even when no one is listening. Words are containers. What you speak now will shape how smoothly the miracle integrates into your life. Avoid complaining. Avoid replaying old disappointments. Speak expectancy, even if your voice trembles. This is also a moment of divine partnership. God has done his part. Heaven has responded. Now your role is to remain aligned. Not perfect, just aligned. If you feel prompted to rest, rest. If you feel prompted to act, act. Do not overthink the nudges. Obedience is the bridge between release and arrival. And right here, I want to say this clearly. If this message is resonating with your spirit, engage with it. Let it be known that you are in agreement. Take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs reassurance, and leave a comment declaring that you are ready for what God has released. When you do that, you are not supporting a channel. You are amplifying a word that may be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. If you have not subscribed yet, this is your moment. Stay connected to this space where messages like this find you at the right time. Join the community, turn on notifications, and be part of what God is unfolding here. Your presence matters more than you realize. Archangel Michael says there will be a defining moment soon, a point where you will look back and realize this with a turning point. Not when the miracle fully manifested, but when your faith stopped asking, "Will it happen?" and started declaring, "It is already in motion." Do not rush the process. Acceleration is coming, but peace will lead it. And before you drift from this moment, hold on, because what is about to be revealed next will connect the dots you didn't even know were related. My beloved one, there is a deeper layer to what was released on January 19th, and Archangel Michael wants you to understand it clearly, because misunderstanding this season could cause you to underestimate its power. What God authorized was not only a response to what you did, but a response to who you have become. Heaven does not reward moments alone. It responds to transformation. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority now and says that for a long time you were being refined in silence. While others were being celebrated publicly, you were being shaped privately. You endured seasons where your faith was tested not by lack, but by delay. You kept showing up even when answers did. You kept believing even when evidence was thin. That consistency builds spiritual weight, and spiritual weight commands attention in heaven. Here is the part that may surprise you. The miracle released is connected to a cycle ending. Something that kept repeating, emotionally, financially, relationally, or spiritually, has reached its final chapter. You were not stuck because you lacked faith. You were held because God was aligning the ending with the beginning of something far greater. Archangel Michael says, what is coming will feel unfamiliar but not unsafe. That is important. Many people reject blessings simply because they don't recognize peace without struggle. You became so used to fighting that ease now feels suspicious. But this time, ease is not compromise. It is confirmation. You may notice people from your past resurfacing in your thoughts or even in real life. This is not coincidence. It is closure. God is allowing you to see how far you've come so you don't return to what you outgrew. Not every door reopening is an invitation. Some are reminders of why you left. The miracle with your name on it carries restoration, but not in the way you imagined. God is not restoring you to an old version of life. He is restoring you to clarity, authority, and confidence. You will no longer beg for what aligns with you. You will recognize it by how naturally it flows. Archangel Michael also reveals that timing is critical now. There will be moments where you must choose quickly, not out of fear, but out of trust. Over-deliberation can become disobedience in this season. If God prompts you, move. If He tells you to wait, stay still. Sensitivity will protect what has been released. And listen closely, this miracle is protected. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to explain it. You don't need everyone to understand it. What God gives you does not require a committee's approval. Silence will be your shield. There is also a warning wrapped in love. Do not shrink when expansion begins. Do not apologize for growth. Do not dim what God is illuminating. The same people who misunderstood your waiting may misunderstand your rising. That is not your burden to carry. Archangel Michael says your obedience on January 19th echoed louder than you think. It broke agreements you didn't even know existed. It closed doors the enemy used for access. That is why peace is returning before the miracle appears. Peace always goes first. Now receive this with humility and confidence. This is not delayed hope. This is active fulfillment. You are standing between release and arrival. And how you stand here matters. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, honor this moment with a response. Type "I receive the promise" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 319 has just been released over your life. This word is reaching you because someone chose to sow so others could hear what heaven is saying. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, linked in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling a river. God says, "What you place in my hand, I multiply in the lives of many." This is your moment to act in alignment, not later, not passively, but prophetically. I declare that every seed sown here returns to you pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing in the very area you've been praying about. Obey now. Release it, and watch how heaven responds again. My dear child, settle your heart as you listen now, because this phase is about discernment more than excitement. Archangel Michael stands watchfully beside you, not because danger is coming, but because precision is required. When heaven responds to a move like the one you made, the next step is not to rush forward blindly, but to walk with clarity. What unfolds next will reward awareness. Since the release, you may have felt a strange mix of peace and anticipation. Not anxiety, but an alertness. Almost like something is about to knock, and you are standing near the door. That feeling is accurate. The spiritual atmosphere around you has shifted, and your spirit senses it before your circumstances show it. This is why impatience must not lead you now. The miracle will arrive at the exact moment it can be sustained. Archangel Michael says there is a lesson embedded in this waiting, not the painful waiting you once endured, but a purposeful pause. In this pause, God is teaching you to recognize His voice without needing pressure. Before, urgency came from fear of loss. Now urgency will come from alignment. Learn the difference. One drains you. The other strengthens you. You are also being prepared to receive without sabotaging yourself. Many people pray for miracles but are not ready for the responsibility that comes with answered prayers. God does not want you overwhelmed by what you once begged for. That is why He is stabilizing your emotions now. You will notice you are less reactive, less desperate for validation, more grounded in who you are. That is not distance, it is maturity. Archangel Michael reveals that some doors will open effortlessly and that will feel unfamiliar. Your instinct may be to question it, to wonder where the struggle is. But this time, ease is not a trap. Ease is evidence that the battle was already won in the unseen. You fought when it mattered, and now you are being allowed to walk. Pay attention to what no longer fits. Certain conversations will feel empty. Certain habits will feel heavy. Certain environments will quietly lose their grip on you. Do not force yourself to stay where your spirit has already moved on. God is gently redirecting you away from what cannot go with you into what He has prepared. There is also a recalibration happening in how you hear God. Before, You may have sought signs constantly, and now guidance will come as knowing, a calm certainty, a settled yes or no. Trust that. Archangel Michael says this is the result of trust built over time. God is no longer speaking to you as a beginner, but as someone who has learned to listen. You might be tempted to explain your journey to people who don't understand. Resist that urge. Not everything sacred needs an audience. Some things stay protected because they are kept private. Silence is not secrecy. It is stewardship. Another important shift is happening in how you see yourself. You are no longer asking, "Am I allowed?" You are starting to ask, "Is this aligned?" That question alone changes everything. It moves you from permission-seeking to purpose-driven living. And that shift makes you dangerous to limitations that once controlled you. Archangel Michael says, do not underestimate the power of consistency in this season. Small acts done with faith will compound quickly. A simple prayer, a disciplined choice, a moment of obedience. These are the threads God is weaving together behind the scenes. What looks ordinary now will be revealed as divine later. There may also be moments of testing, not because you are failing, but because clarity is being sharpened. You will be presented with options that look similar but feel different. Choose what brings peace, not what feeds old patterns. Choose what aligns with where you are going, not what reminds you of where you have been. Understand this clearly. The miracle is approaching, but it will not announce itself loudly. It will arrive in a form that requires recognition. This is why distraction is the real threat now, not opposition. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. Archangel Michael stands firm and says, nothing meant for you will miss you. You do not need to chase. You do not need to force. You only need to remain aligned. God's timing is not slow. It is precise. And as you continue forward, remember this moment. Remember how it felt to trust without proof. That posture is what carried you here, and it is what will carry you into what comes next. My precious one, what unfolds now is about ownership, owning what God has already entrusted to you. Archangel Michael speaks with a steady firmness in this moment, because this stage determines how deeply the miracle roots itself in your life. You are no longer in the phase of asking or waiting. You are in the phase of becoming comfortable with what has already been assigned to you. There is a subtle but powerful shift happening inside you. You are beginning to realize that you are not the same person who entered the struggle. The old version of you needed constant reassurance. This version carries quiet confidence. The old version feared loss. This version understands provision. That interchange is the true sign that heaven's response was real. Archangel Michael reveals that God is teaching you how to steward peace. Peace is not the absence of activity, it is the absence of fear-driven motion. You are learning how to move without anxiety chasing you. And that lesson is essential, because what is coming will require calm leadership, not emotional reactions. You may notice that your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Things that once felt acceptable now feel misaligned. You are less willing to entertain mixed signals, half commitments, or unclear intentions from others and from yourself. This is not rigidity. This is clarity. God is sharpening your discernment so you can recognize what deserves your energy. There is also a cleansing taking place in your expectations. Before, you may have attached the miracle to a specific outcome or person. Now, you are learning to trust God's method, not just His promise. That release is powerful. It removes disappointment before it can form. It allows gratitude to lead instead of comparison. Archangel Michael says there is a divine exchange happening. God is taking the weight you carried silently and replacing it with authority you will carry confidently. Authority does not announce itself. It shows up as steadiness, as self-respect, as the ability to say no without guilt and yes without fear. You might feel moments of unfamiliar boldness, speaking up where you once stayed quiet, walking away where you once over-explained, standing firm where you once compromised. Do not question that change. It is not rebellion. It is alignment. You are finally responding from identity instead of insecurity. This season is also teaching you restraint. Not every opportunity is yours. Not every open door is meant to be entered. Some doors open to test whether you can wait for the right one. Archangel Michael urges you to listen closely to the stillness inside you. The correct choice will feel settled, not rushed. There may be times when others misinterpret your calm as distance or pride. Let them. You are no longer required to perform for understanding. Your responsibility now is obedience, not explanation. God is far more concerned with your alignment than with your image. Another important truth is emerging. You are not meant to carry this miracle alone. God is preparing connections that will meet you where you are, not where you were. These relationships will feel mutual, balanced, and honoring. They will not drain you. They will sharpen you. Be patient. They are closer than you think. Archangel Michael also speaks about trust. Not blind trust, but tested trust. You have already seen God come through in ways you didn't expect. Let those memories anchor you now. When doubt whispers, respond with remembrance. You are not hoping in theory. You are trusting based on evidence. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. What you say to yourself now matters. Replace self-questioning with self-assurance rooted in God's faithfulness. Speak as someone who knows they are supported. Because you are. This is also a moment of quiet celebration. You don't need applause to acknowledge growth. Take time to recognize how far you've come. The strength it took to stay when leaving felt easier. The faith it took to move when staying felt safer. Those moments mattered. Heaven accorded them. Archangel Michael concludes this message with reassurance. He says the miracle is not drifting. It is approaching with intention. Nothing is late. Nothing is misplaced. Everything is aligning according to divine order. Remain steady. Remain humble. Remain open. You are not standing on the edge of uncertainty. You are standing at the threshold of fulfillment. My beloved one, this phase is about momentum, not motion for the sake of activity, but divine momentum that builds quietly and then suddenly becomes undeniable. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity now, because what you do in this stretch determines how smoothly the miracle integrates into your daily life. Heaven has responded, the release has occurred, and now alignment must be maintained. You may feel an inner push to reorganize certain areas of your life. Your schedule, your priorities, even your thoughts are being reordered. This is not pressure, it is preparation. God often rearranges the structure before he fills the space. You are being guided to make room, not just externally, but internally. Old fears, outdated beliefs, and unnecessary obligations are being gently highlighted so you can let them go without regret. Archangel Michael reveals that distraction is the most subtle test in this season. Not temptation in obvious forms, but mental noise. Overthinking, replaying conversations, imagining outcomes that haven't happened. These things can drain focus if you allow them. This is why stillness is important now. Even brief moments of quiet will recalibrate you faster than hours of striving. Notice how your intuition has sharpened. You are sensing things before they unfold. You are picking up on undercurrents others miss. This is not imagination. This is discernment refined through obedience. Trust it. God is teaching you how to navigate what is coming without needing constant confirmation from others. There will be opportunities that seem good but feel rushed. Be cautious. Archangel Michael says anything truly aligned will meet you with peace, not pressure. Pressure tries to force a yes. Alignment invites a confident response. Learn to recognize the difference, because saying no now protects the yes that matters most. Another shift is happening in how you define success. You are no longer chasing what looks impressive. You are choosing what feels sustainable. That is wisdom. God is not interested in burning you out with blessings. He is interested in building something that lasts. What is coming is meant to grow with you, not consume you. You may also notice that certain prayers are being answered differently than expected. Not wrong, just differently. God is giving you outcomes instead of explanations, results instead of reasons. Trust that His view is wider than yours. What feels indirect now will soon make perfect sense. Archangel Michael reminds you that obedience is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like consistency. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like resting when the world says push. What are those moments? They are not pauses. They are positioning. This is also a moment to stay connected. Messages like this are finding you for a reason. If this word is strengthening your faith, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may be waiting for confirmation, and leave a comment declaring that you are staying aligned with what God is doing. Your engagement is not just interaction. It is agreement. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time to stay connected. This space exists so that messages reach people exactly when they need them. Join the community, turn on notifications, and walk this journey with others who are listening for God's voice just like you. And before your attention drifts, stay with this moment, because what is unfolding next will reveal why the timing had to be this precise. There is a connection about to surface that will answer questions you didn't even know how to ask. Archangel Michael also speaks about confidence. Not arrogance, not self-reliance, but grounded assurance. You are learning to stand without constantly checking if you're allowed to be where you are. That confidence is not from self, it is from alignment. You know you didn't force this. You followed. Be mindful of your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts or plans. Protect what is growing. Seeds don't need to be dug up daily to prove they are alive. They need covering. They need time. They need trust. You are also being reminded that joy is part of obedience. You are allowed to enjoy this season. You are allowed to smile again without guilt. You are allowed to hope without bracing for disappointment. Joy is not denial of past pain. It is evidence of healing. Archangel Michael concludes with this reassurance. He says you are not behind. You are not catching up. You are exactly where divine timing placed you. Every step you took led here. Every delay refined you. Every lesson prepared you. Stay steady. Stay present. Stay aligned. The miracle is closer than it appears, and you are more ready than you realize. My dear one, what unfolds now is a quiet unveiling. Archangel Michael speaks with measured calm, because this stage is less about anticipation and more about recognition. You are entering a season where signs are no longer dramatic, but consistent. Patterns begin to form. Small confirmations start repeating. And if you are attentive, you will realize that God has been speaking continuously. You are simply hearing Him more clearly now. There is a settling happening in your spirit. Not complacency, but assurance. You are no longer searching for proof at every turn. You are learning to trust the rhythm of obedience. This is important because the miracle approaching you will not arrive in chaos. It will come through order, through alignment, through a sequence that feels almost ordinary until you realize how divinely arranged it is. Archangel Michael reveals that some of the tension you once carried came from trying to control outcomes instead of stewarding direction. That grip is loosening now. You are allowing God to lead without needing to preview every step. This surrender is not weakness, it is partnership. Heaven responds quickly to those who move without resistance. You may notice that time feels different. Days pass faster, yet moments feel fuller. This is a sign of presence. You are no longer living ahead of yourself or behind yourself. You are here. And when you are present, you can recognize what is meant for you without forcing it. There is also a recalibration in your emotional responses. Situations that once triggered overreaction now invite reflection. You pause. You listen. You respond instead of react. This is evidence that you are no longer led by survival instincts. You are led by discernment. And discernment will guide you safely into what God has prepared. Archangel Michael says something important here. He says that the miracle will meet you in normalcy, in a routine day, in an ordinary setting. That is why awareness matters more than excitement. If you are always waiting for a dramatic shift, you may overlook the door opening quietly beside you. This is also a season of alignment in relationships, not quantity but quality. You may feel drawn to fewer people, but the connections feel deeper. Conversations feel purposeful. Silence feels comfortable. God is removing the need for constant affirmation and replacing it with mutual understanding. These relationships will support what is coming, not compete with it. You are also learning the value of boundaries without bitterness. Saying no longer feels like rejection. It feels like respect. Respect for your time. Respect for your energy. Respect for the work God is doing in you. This clarity is protection. It ensures that when the miracle arrives, it does not become a burden. Archangel Michael reveals that you are being trained to recognize favor without chasing it. Doors will open because of alignment, not effort. Invitations will come because of positioning, not persuasion. This is a new way of moving for you, and it may feel unfamiliar at first. Let it. Growth often feels strange before it feels natural. Pay attention to what brings you peace now. That peace is not random. It is guidance. God is leading you through calm, not confusion. Through clarity, not chaos. The more you honor that peace, the smoother the transition into fulfillment will be. There may be moments when the past tries to reintroduce itself. Old fears, old doubts, old narratives. Do not engage them. They are echoes, not instructions. You have already moved beyond the place where those voices had authority. Acknowledge them, then let them pass. Archangel Michael speaks gently but firmly here. He says that comparison has no place in this season. Your journey is specific. Your timing is intentional. Measuring your progress against others will only distort your perception. What God is doing in you cannot be rushed and does not need to be replicated. You are also learning patience without passivity. You are not waiting idly. You are staying aligned. There is a difference. Alignment keeps you ready without making you restless. It keeps your hands open instead of clenched. It allows God to place what is meant for you without resistance. This phase may feel quieter than expected, but do not mistake quiet for inactivity. Seeds grow underground before they break the surface. Roots form before fruit appears. What is happening now is foundational, and foundations determine longevity. Archangel Michael concludes this message with reassurance. He says that nothing has stalled. Nothing has gone off course. You are not circling the same mountain. You are ascending, even if the incline feels gentle. Remain attentive. Remain grounded. Remain faithful in small things, because the moment of recognition is approaching, the moment when you realize that what you have been preparing for is already here, unfolding in front of you, exactly as God intended. My beloved child, this moment marks a crossing point, and Archangel Michael speaks with great care now, because what you are stepping into requires both courage and trust. You are no longer approaching the miracle from a distance. You are close enough that your choices, your words, and even your inner posture begin to influence how it unfolds. This is not pressure. This is partnership. There is a holy awareness settling over you. You may feel it as a quiet seriousness mixed with peace. You understand now that what God released is not fragile, but it is sacred. Sacred things are not rushed, displayed carelessly, or handled without reverence. This is why your spirit has been drawn inward recently. God has been teaching you how to carry weight without strain. Archangel Michael reveals that one of the greatest shifts in this season is how you see responsibility. Before, responsibility felt heavy, like something that limited your freedom. Now, responsibility feels purposeful. You understand that being trusted by God is not a burden, it is an honor. And the fact that heaven responded to you means you were found trustworthy. You may notice that your prayers have changed. You are no longer begging or explaining. You are declaring, thanking, and aligning. This is not arrogance. This is maturity. God listens differently when His children pray from agreement instead of desperation. You are learning how to speak from the place of already beloved, already heard, already seen. Archangel Michael says there is also refining of motives happening. God is ensuring that when the miracle manifests, it will not be misused or misunderstood. You are being protected from receiving too soon or from the wrong angle. Timing is mercy. Preparation is love. There may be moments now when old opportunities resurface, trying to look appealing again. Do not be confused. Not everything familiar is safe, and not everything new is risky. Measure by peace. Measure by alignment. Measure by whether it pulls you forward or pulls you back. God will never lead you backward to move you forward. You are also being shown how powerful your obedience truly is. Small, consistent obedience has built momentum that cannot be stopped. Heaven responds to faithfulness more than to intensity. You stayed. You listened. You moved when it mattered. That is why this miracle carries permanence, not temporary relief. Archangel Michael speaks gently about gratitude. Gratitude before manifestation accelerates fulfillment. Not because God needs it, but because it positions you to receive fully. Gratitude keeps the heart open. It prevents fear from narrowing your vision. Stay thankful, even now. There is something else happening that must be acknowledged. You are being repositioned as an example, not through performance, but through authenticity. Others will see the calm you carry, the clarity you walk in, and they will wonder how you arrived there. Your life itself will speak. You don't need to preach loudly. Your alignment will do it for you. Archangel Michael assures you that what is coming will not overwhelm you. It will meet you at your level of readiness. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into order that God Himself established. Every detail has been considered. Now receive this activation with humility and faith. Type "I am ready" and aligned in the comments if this message confirms what you have been sensing. Blessing code 864 has just been released over you. This word is reaching hearts across the world because some choose to partner with the assignment God has placed here. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked in the description, you are not donating, you are sowing into open ground. God says, when you release into my work, I release into your life. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine moment of alignment. I speak blessing over every giver now, that your obedience returns as provision, clarity, and peace in the very area where you need it most. Act now. Obey the prompting, and watch how heaven honors your response. My precious one, this stage is about integration, allowing what God has released to settle into your life without resistance. Archangel Michael speaks now with reassuring authority, because this is where many people become uncertain, not because something is wrong, but because something is finally real. When miracles move from promise to process, they can feel unfamiliar. That unfamiliarity is not danger. It is transition. You may notice that life feels more normal than expected. There is no thunder, no sudden announcement, no dramatic shift that everyone can see. And yet, something inside you knows things are different. That knowing is important. God often chooses subtlety so faith can mature beyond emotional dependence. You are learning to trust without constant stimulation. Archangel Michael reveals that the miracle is weaving itself into your routine, into your daily decisions, into your conversations, into how you see yourself when no one is watching. This is intentional. God does not want you visiting the miracle occasionally. He wants you living from it consistently. There may be moments now where you question whether you imagined the release. That thought is not failure. It is simply your mind catching up to what your spirit already accepted. Remember, spiritual shifts often precede mental confirmation. Do not let logic cancel revelation. Balance them, but let faith lead. You are also entering a phase of responsibility that feels quieter but carries weight. People may begin to trust you more. Opportunities may require discernment instead of excitement. Decisions may carry longer-term impact. This is not pressure. It is evidence that God considers you stable enough to steward more. Archangel Michael says something important here. He says that ease does not mean absence of effort. It means absence of resistance. You may still work. You may still stretch. But you will no longer feel like you are pushing against invisible walls. Progress will feel cooperative instead of combative. Pay attention to how your inner dialogue has changed. You are less harsh with yourself, less quick to assume failure, more willing to pause before reacting. That is healing in action. God is not just changing circumstances. He is restoring your relationship with yourself. You may also feel drawn to simplify certain areas of your life. Less clutter, fewer commitments, clear priorities. This is not withdrawal. It is focus. When God brings something valuable, He often clears distractions so it can be appreciated fully. Archangel Michael also speaks about trust in timing. There are still layers unfolding. Not because God is withholding, but because wisdom is being applied. What comes too fast can overwhelm what is meant to bless. God is pacing this miracle to match your growth, not your impatience. You might notice that certain doors are closing gently now, without conflict or drama. Let them close. They serve their purpose. Closure does not always require explanation. Sometimes peace is the explanation. This season will also test whether you can receive without proving yourself. You do not need to justify why you are blessed. You do not need to explain why things are working. Grace does not require a defense. Receive with humility and move forward. Archangel Michael says comparison will try one last time to steal your clarity. Others may appear to be ahead. Others may seem louder, faster, more visible. Do not measure your journey by surface-level metrics. What God is building in you is deep, not flashy. Depth lasts. There is also a quiet confidence forming in you. You are no longer waiting for permission to trust yourself. You are listening to wisdom instead of fear. That confidence is not arrogance. It is alignment reinforced by experience. Be mindful of how you handle small frustrations now. They are not signs of setback. They are reminders that you are still human, still growing, still learning. Do not magnify them. Do not attach meaning where none is required. Stay grounded. Archangel Michael reassures you that nothing is slipping away. Nothing can be lost in the waiting. Every delay you experienced before this moment served a purpose. Every lesson prepared you for sustainability, not just arrival. This phase is quieter, but it is powerful. Integration determined longevity. What settles deeply does not fade quickly. God is ensuring that what He gives you becomes part of who you are, not just something you experience temporarily. Remain patient with yourself. Remain attentive to peace. Remain thankful for subtle confirmations. Because what is next will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like recognition. The sense that you have arrived exactly where you were being led all along. My beloved one, this is a defining stretch, and Archangel Michael speaks with gentle urgency now, not to alarm you, but to awaken your awareness. What you are walking through is no longer preparation alone. It is positioning. The way you carry yourself in this window will determine how confidently you step into what God has already set in motion. Heaven has responded, and now heaven is watching how you steward the response. There is a noticeable strengthening within you. Not loud confidence, but quiet stability. You are less shaken by uncertainty, less dependent on external reassurance. This is not emotional numbness. It is rootedness. God has anchored you so that when the manifestation becomes visible, it does not uproot you or distract you from your purpose. Archangel Michael reveals that one of the greatest changes in this season is discernment around timing. You are learning when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait. That discernment is protecting you from unnecessary battles. Not every reaction is required. Not every opinion deserves engagement. Wisdom is choosing peace without needing to win. You may notice that conversations are changing. People may come to you for insight, not just support. They sense something steady about you, even if they cannot name it. This is influence without force. God is teaching you how to lead through presence, not persuasion. There may also be moments when impatience tries to surface again. You might think, I've come this far, why not now? Archangel Michael says this impatience is not failure, it is proximity. When something is close, the temptation to rush increases. But rushing can cause you to mishandle what was meant to be held with care. Stay steady. Here does not mean now. Here means aligned. You are also being invited to trust the simplicity of what God is doing. The miracle may not arrive wrapped in drama. It may come through consistency, through one decision that leads to another, through a shift that feels almost obvious in hindsight. Do not dismiss simplicity. God often hides His greatest works in plain sight. Archangel Michael speaks clearly here. He says you are not meant to carry this season alone. There is strength in staying connected to spaces where faith is nurtured. That is why messages like this continue to find you. If this word is strengthening your spirit, take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who may be quietly waiting for reassurance, and leave a comment declaring that you are staying faithful to the process. If you have not subscribed yet, this is a moment to stay connected. This is not just about notifications, it is about alignment. Join this growing community, turn on alerts, and walk alongside others who are listening for God's direction just like you. When you engage, you are not just watching, you are participating. And hold on, because what comes next will bring clarity to something you have been questioning internally. This next stretch connects the past delay with the future fulfillment in a way that will finally make sense. Archangel Michael also reminds you to guard your peace intentionally. Peace is not passive, it is protected. Choose rest when your body asks for it. Choose silence when your spirit feels crowded. These choices are not signs of weakness. They are acts of wisdom that keep you aligned. There is a growing confidence in your prayers now. You are no longer praying to convince God. You are praying to commune with Him. That shift changes everything. God responds differently when His children pray from trust instead of fear. You might also sense a call to refine your habits. What you consume mentally and emotionally matters more now. You are in a season where clarity is currency. Protected. What you allow into your mind will influence how clearly you recognize what God brings. Archangel Michael reassures you that even if progress feels slow on the surface, movement is happening beneath it. Roots are strengthening. Structures are forming. What emerges from this season will not collapse under pressure because it was built patiently. There is also a lesson in gratitude here. Gratitude keeps your heart open. It prevents entitlement from forming. Thank God not only for what is coming, but for how far you've already traveled. That remembrance fuels endurance. As this phase unfolds, remember that you are not being tested to see if you deserve the miracle. That question has already been answered. You are being trained to sustain it. Sustainability is the goal. Longevity is the reward. Archangel Michael closes this message with reassurance. He says you are not missing anything. You are not overlooking a sign. You are not behind. Everything is unfolding according to divine order. Stay aligned. Stay humble. Stay expectant. Because what remains will not just arrive. It will settle, grow, and remain with you in a way that brings lasting peace and fulfillment. My precious one, this moment is about embodiment, allowing the truth of what God has done to fully settle into who you are becoming. Archangel Michael speaks softly now, not because the message lacks power, but because strength no longer needs to raise its voice. You are not standing on the edge anymore. You are standing within the promise, even if the full picture has not yet revealed itself. There is a noticeable steadiness in you now, not the kind that comes from having all the answers, but the kind that comes from trusting the one who does. You are no longer measuring every step, wondering if you are doing enough or being enough. You are moving from a place of acceptance rather than striving. That shift is one of the clearest signs that heaven truly responded. Archangel Michael reveals that this phase is about alignment becoming identity. What once required effort now feels natural. Trust flows more easily. Obedience feels less like sacrifice and more like wisdom. You are not forcing faith anymore. You are living it. And that is why what comes next will integrate smoothly rather than disruptively. You may notice that your perspective has widened. Problems that once felt overwhelming now appear manageable. Questions that once caused anxiety now invite curiosity. This does not mean challenges have disappeared. It means fear no longer defines your response to them. God has strengthened your inner foundation so external circumstances do not shake you as easily. There is also a new gentleness in how you treat yourself. You are no longer punishing yourself for what you did not know then. You honor growth instead of replaying regret. That self-compassion is not indulgence, it is healing. And healed people receive blessings without suspicion. Archangel Michael says something important here. He says that the miracle with your name on it was never meant to replace God's presence in your life. It was meant to reflect it. That is why your relationship with God feels deeper now, not transactional. You are not engaging Him only for outcomes. You are walking with Him daily, trusting that what unfolds is part of a larger design. You might find that your prayers are shorter but fuller. Less words, more meaning. Less urgency, more intimacy. This is not spiritual dryness. This is spiritual maturity. God listens attentively to prayers rooted in trust, even when they are whispered. This season may also bring a quiet confidence that surprises you. You are not seeking recognition, yet recognition finds you. You are not demanding respect, yet it is offered. This is the byproduct of alignment. When you stop chasing validation, you naturally attract favor. Archangel Michael also speaks about rest. True rest is not disengagement, it is restoration. You are learning to rest without guilt, to pause without fear that everything will fall apart. That rest recalibrates your spirit and keeps your discernment sharp. Honor it. There may be moments when you look back and realize how much changed internally before anything changed externally. That awareness will protect you from doubting future processes. You will remember that God works from the inside out, and that visible change is often the final step, not the first. You are also becoming more selective with your energy. Not withdrawn but intentional. You invest where there is growth, not where there is constant draining. This is wisdom born from experience. Archangel Michael affirms that protecting your energy now is part of protecting what God has given you. Another subtle shift is happening in how you handle uncertainty. Instead of resisting it, you allow it to exist without panic. You understand now that uncertainty does not mean absence of guidance. It often means trust is being exercised, and trust strengthens through use. You may also feel a growing sense of responsibility, not pressure, but purpose. You are aware that what God has done in you positions you to be a source of stability for others. Not through fixing, but through presence. Not through answers, but through peace. Your life itself becomes reassurance. Archangel Michael reminds you that this journey was never about arriving at a perfect place. It was about becoming a grounded person. Grounded people can receive without being consumed. They can lead without dominating. They can bless without losing themselves. As this phase draws toward completion, do not rush to define it. Let it be what it is. Some seasons are meant to be lived, not analyzed. Trust that clarity will come when it is needed. There is a calm confidence forming in you now, a knowing that whatever unfolds next, you are equipped to handle it. Not because you are strong on your own, but because you are supported, guided, and aligned. Archangel Michael closes this message with quiet assurance. He says you are not waiting for God to act. God has already acted. You are simply walking into the fullness of what was released. Remain present. Remain faithful. Remain open. Because what follows will not feel like a surprise anymore. It will feel like fulfillment catching up to the faith you have been carrying all along. My beloved child, this is the moment of sealing, and Archangel Michael speaks now with a voice that carries completion, not finality, but fulfillment. What began as a quiet response in heaven has now become a settled reality in the spirit. You are no longer waiting for confirmation. You are standing in agreement with what God has already established. There is a deep stillness surrounding you now, and that stillness is holy. It is not emptiness. It is assurance. The kind of assurance that does not need constant reminders or repeated signs. You have crossed from hoping into knowing. Even if every detail has not appeared yet, your spirit is no longer questioning the outcome. You trust the source. Archangel Michael reveals that the miracle released with your name on it was never meant to impress others. It was designed to realign you, to restore what was fractured, to confirm what was doubted, and most importantly, to remind you that obedience, even when unseen, always carries consequence in heaven. You may notice that fear no longer speaks as loudly. It may still try, but its authority is gone. Fear once had influence because uncertainty dominated your thoughts. Now peace holds the center. Peace does not mean everything is predictable. It means everything is anchored. His final phase is about walking forward without constantly looking back, not forgetting the past, but no longer living from it. You honor what shaped you, but you are not bound by it. God has not brought you this far to revisit old versions of yourself. He has brought you here to live as who you are now. Archangel Michael says something important here. He says that what is coming next will not require striving. It will require honesty. Honesty about what aligns and what doesn't. Honesty about where you are strong and where you still need God's help. That honesty keeps you grounded and keeps pride from interfering with grace. There is also a quiet joy returning to you. Not excitement that spikes and crashes, but joy that stays. Joy that does not depend on circumstances. That joy is a sign of healing completed, not just healing begun. You are no longer bracing yourself for disappointment. You are allowing yourself to enjoy the present. You may also feel a deeper sense of responsibility, not pressure, but calling. You understand now that what God has done in you is not meant to stop with you. Your life becomes a testimony without speeches. Your consistency becomes encouragement to others. Your peace becomes proof. Archangel Michael reminds you that the miracle you receive is not fragile. It does not need to be protected by fear or secrecy. It needs to be stewarded with humility and gratitude. Walk gently with what God has given you. Honor it, and allow it to grow naturally. There will still be challenges ahead. That has not changed. But what has changed is your posture. You no longer face challenges as someone unsure of support. You face them as someone who knows heaven responds. That knowledge changes everything. As this message comes to its close, receive this sealing with faith. Type "I walk in fulfillment" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1147 is now activated over your life. This message reached you because God is building something larger than a single moment. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal donation, linked in the description, you are answering a divine call to help this word reach souls who are still waiting for hope. God says, "Those who build my house will never lack." What you release here becomes light in someone else's darkness, and heaven records that obedience. I declare that every giver is marked for increase, stability, and peace in the very area they have been believing for. Do not delay. Obey the prompting now. Sow with faith, and watch how God continues to move through your life with clarity, protection, and lasting blessing.